All right, guys. It's the last review session on the material covered in Test 2. That test is going to be worth 1/3 of your overall grade, 33%. So a big one again. This is from the course outline, just to refresh your memory. The topics that are going to be covered on Test 2 are kind of the two portions, really. One, well, there's lots of portions. It's kind of the middle of the pack here in the lecture material. First, we hit HVAC and elevator systems. Those are two main building services. Okay, as I've already hinted to you, and I'll talk to you again about that, the HVAC is really critical on your tests coming up. There's a big essay question on HVAC. After that, we got into interiors of commercial buildings, talked about the indoor environment, a lot of acoustics, stuff like that. But also, we talked about interior construction, so floor finishes, ceiling finishes, wall finishes, and how we fit out our commercial interiors. So what we're covering today, in today's review session, is a little bit the regulatory side, and then the kind of construction project management side. So we got the New Zealand Building Code and Building Act, and then we have two lectures that deal with what a construction project manager pretty much does. The first is the overview of how projects are organized, the delivery methods, and then we get into the roles of a construction project manager. So that is the topics that are covered on the test. In addition to that, we got the last two sections of the Building a Skyscraper documentary that you need to watch. And just like on test number 1, there'll be 2 questions, 1 mark each, so don't kill yourself. Do not sit there and take notes, just watch it. You know, enjoy it, learn from it, and you should be able to answer the 2 questions pretty easily. So here is, I'll close that. Here's the announcement I put up on Canvas recently. And a whopping 22 questions, total of 55 marks, so some of them have a lot of marks. 10 of those questions, there's only 1 mark each, so those are your multiple choice, true, false, easy peasy. And then another 10 questions have fill in the blanks, and a good number of those are multiple fill in the blanks. So there's more than one kind of buzzword, vocab word that I'm looking for you to fill in. And just like in test 1, just do your best, not a spelling bee. Have a go at it, and we'll be all right. There are 2 essay questions. One, as I've already talked about, HVAC comes out of Module 2. If you were in or you saw the review session from last week, I went ahead and did a little mini lecture on essentially what I'm looking for out of you guys for the essay question. So that's 10 marks. It's a big chunk of a big test for you guys. So please rewatch that, study that hard, and I expect amazing essay answers from you guys. The second essay question is half as many marks, and it comes out of the second module of Building Act and Building Code. So I won't tell you exactly what that is, but if you go through it, you know, there's a limited amount of questions I can probably ask and have a decent essay question on, so try to focus on that. Okay, those of you who sat in here paper, whether you were on the list or you just broke in and you wanted to sit it on paper, you're on the list now. So whoever sat on paper needs to set this test coming up on paper and the last one on paper. I've taken your name off the computer lab list, and you're on this list only. So if you sat a paper-based test in this room, you got to do it again. Okay, this time it will be 90 minutes. Sorry for last time, I screwed that up pretty bad. This time you will have 90 minutes, computer or paper-based, so it'll be all good. So, without further ado, shoot on over for the review session 5. Discussion questions. Come on. Okay, so this is where you're putting your UPI code in there. No funny business. UPI only. Okay, 242674. Very good, excellent UPIs. I'll give you a few moments. It's about half the class now. There's some non-UPIs in there. Uh-oh, how can the number go down? Fabulous bison. All right, 100 is good for me. The rest of you, hurry on in. Okay, 5 questions. First one, true, false. Proprietary systems with brands appraisal certificates do not have legal status, so they could be rejected for code compliance certification. Is that a true statement or a false statement? So if your brand's appraised, are you sweet? That's right. You could be rejected. So if your brand's appraised, technically, the council could say, But in reality, as I say in the lecture, it's pretty much rock solid. Most likely the council, and the council often, well, my experience, I don't have a huge amount of direct experience with them, but they will specifically ask for a brand's appraisal certificate, and that's part of their criteria to allow something. So legally, they could reject it, but pretty much they will accept it. Okay, number 2. Which project delivery method can take advantage of the concept of multiple primes? It's not, don't confuse that with Optimus Prime, different kind of prime. So is that CMA, CMR, design build, traditional design build? Design bid build, sorry. Oh, just, you guys are oozing confidence in this one. Look at that. Man, you couldn't randomize it better than that. Okay, well, let me see. I have a little, did I not copy it up here? There I did. This is going to require a slide. Don't need that. Okay. So this is your traditional design bid build. And what multiple primes basically means, and this requires the owner to be a bit savvy. So they can't be totally green and have no idea what they're doing. I mean, you could do it, of course, but if you're going to be successful at it, you need to kind of know what you're doing. So what happens is your typical super traditional, that's your single prime, it's the owner contracts with the general contractor. And from that point forward, it's a whole bunch of subs. What sub or multiple primes is like, okay, I like the general contractor and a whole bunch of the, minor subs. I don't want to deal with all that monkey business. But I know a couple of the huge ticket items are things like in a big commercial building, mechanical systems and electrical subcontractor. Those are just examples, okay? You could do multiple primes with more than that, fewer than that, different than that. But generally, by contracting directly with these subs, then you could cut out the margin that the general contractor would apply. Now, you could have all kinds of issues, though, because the general contractor, if they're going to point a finger, they're going to point a finger at these other subs. That's not under their contract, of course, and say, well, it's not my fault I'm late. It's because of your own guy, your mechanical subcontractor. Your problem, not my problem. So there are risks you take doing that, but the benefit is you could potentially cut out some of the margin and lower your cost as an owner-developer. Okay? Number 3, typically once a project scope under construction manager at risk, CMR, is well defined, the CMR puts on a different hat. It was the analogy I used. What do they become? Do they become the engineer to the contract, the general contractor? Do they go from CMR to CMA? Do they become just a project manager? What hat do they put on typically? All right, that's better. That's better. So what construction manager at risk is basically like that's how the business school was built. Yeah, and it allows you to fast track. It means that you start off kind of everybody hugging each other and being really close. And the construction manager is kind of really the general contractor simultaneously at the beginning, but they're compensated in a different way. And that's because the scope is still open-ended. And I think I might have mentioned this in the lecture, but you know, the Fisher and Paykel, this big gigantic box that sits outside, that was never part of the original scope of the business school. I don't know how it came about, but somebody probably said, you know, for this to fly and make sense, we need a massive lecture theater. So they rejigged that and they put this gigantic box building out there later on. They never planned to have these huge lecture theaters. So that's one of the advantages of, say, starting with something like construction manager at risk is you could do the earthworks, you could kind of start doing what you know, you have enough information to get started. You don't have to wait until all the questions are answered. But when you start this way, generally, when you start getting to the point where, yeah, actually we have all the questions answered, then the higher price, the premium you might pay for the construction manager at risk and the contracts associated with that, you don't want to pay that premium all the way through, so then that guy puts on the general contractor, and you have usually a lump sum fixed price for the balance of the contract. That's what's going on. Okay, 4 or 5. Which of the following construction contract types are not suitable for fast-track projects? Cost reimbursable, fixed price, guaranteed maximum price. All of these are suitable for fast-track projects. You guys can talk amongst yourselves. You got 2 seconds. Woo! I'm glad the test isn't today. Okay. So, well, I'll tell you the reason why it's fixed price. So fixed price is what you'll use when you have a traditional design bid build. So that's, like I was saying just a second ago, that's when you know all the questions are answered, okay? The project is fully designed, the specifications are written, you got the big stack of drawings and specs, then you go out to tender. Really only when you have all those questions answered could you ever possibly get a fixed price for everything. Otherwise, you're just kind of guessing because the scope is still undefined. Cost reimbursable is what you'll tend to use at the very, very beginning under, say, construction manager at risk, where you're just being paid almost a consulting fee, really. You're being reimbursed for your time and your expertise, your involvement in the project, and you're working hand in hand with the owner and the architect to kind of figure things out. So that's fast track, that's cool. And then guaranteed maximum price, it's also another one where it's flexible. You have a general scope, you put a massive price with a huge premium on there, that becomes the GMP, the guaranteed maximum price, but it gives a cap and a bit of comfort for the owner to be comfortable enough to move forward with you, okay? So sometimes you might have that, with that, those are all good for fast tracking. That one, you need to have too many answers, and it takes too long, so therefore the fast track is not an option there. Okay, last one, true, false. As the name suggests, job activities on the critical path are vital to the project and consist of high-value works, hence critical. So you guys can redeem yourselves now. Now is the time to redeem yourselves. That's not how you redeem yourself. I know. When you use the word critical, geez, we all know what critical means. Okay, well, let me show you. I'll use it with visual aids. Okay. So the critical path is really just any job activity, any kind of little package of work that if there is a delay in that package at work, and that could literally be some guy needs this, and I think the example I give in the lecture is some guy needs to sweep the floor. If he doesn't sweep that floor, we are all screwed, and we can't do the next thing unless he sweeps the floor. So it could be super mundane, stupid, you know, kind of pathetic in a sense, not critical at all in that sense, but it's these activities that kind of link up together. If any one of them gets delayed, it delays the entire project. Okay, not every, usually I think it's around 20%, roughly a fifth of the activities are on the critical path. So that means 4/5, some of which might seem really critical, but there's a little bit of play, a little bit of float in time that you could strategically delay that, maybe smooth out your resources of your labor, manpower, some equipment's on the site, you know, you could play with it. But things that are on the critical path, you monkey with those, you will delay the project. That's just it, okay? And they're not necessarily critical in the sense of important, just in isolation. So, let's see who won. Not that you get any chocolate. That's all right. That's good. Woohoo! Okay. Now for the real deal, the chocolates. Okay, here we go. So you guys at home, go ahead, you can sign off and go do something else. For those here, it's time to play for some chocolates. All right, tournament number 1, pin 794133. ASAP. Pineapple. I could always trust Pineapple is going to show up for these. Don't know how you guys find these emoji things. Okay, 3, 2, 1, start. Okay, 5 more questions. The building code does not generally ensure building occupants comfort and convenience. Is that a true statement or a false statement? The building code does not generally ensure comfort and convenience. That's right. That's a true statement. It's not really about how comfortable you are or how convenient things are. It's how safe you are. That's mainly what they're looking for. Newt. Okay. How are the costs of the building control system primarily funded in this country? Property taxes, local rates. User pays through fees and jazz like that. GST or through your income tax. How do we tend to pay for this building, going through building consent and resource consent and all that stuff? Okay. Maybe it was too obvious. Go Fox. Okay, which entity is empowered by the 2004 Building Act to issue building consents? Which entity is empowered to issue building consents? This is actually a misleading question, so I'm interested to see what answer I put here. Okay, for those who put TA, that's correct as well, because every territorial authority is a BCA, so don't know what I was smoking when I put this together, but green is right as well. Okay, 4 or 5. With unconsented building work, you can apply for a certificate of acceptance in place of a CCC, Code Compliance Certificate. Is that true or false? Very good. Excellent. That is right. You could always apply for one, but it doesn't mean you're going to get it. It depends on how dodgy your work is and whether they could understand how close to compliant it might be. Go Fox. Okay, 505. An apartment building with an uppermost finished floor height of 9 meters is categorized as is a category of what? 1, 2, 3, or 4? An apartment building, an uppermost floor, 9 meters. Man, you guys are on fire. Okay. Is Sarah in the house? Oops, sorry, Petro. Is S. It's S for Superman, I guess. Long distance shot, I need to give a good one. Okay, here we go. Oh, I'm throwing it. Oh, where's the fox? Where's Dylan? This is the victory row right there. Where's the dinosaur? Wait a minute. I was going to say, you were just the fox. Oh, no. You okay? All right, round 2. Here we go. Tournament 1, tournament 2. Oh, my gosh. I'm under fire. Okay, here we go. Two, 5, 4, 8, 2, 8. I'll give you a couple more seconds. Gorilla. A hamburger. All right, here we go. 6 questions. The project delivery method that requires the most owner coordination and responsibility is design build, traditional design bid build, construction manager at risk, construction manager as advisor. I really hope you guys nail this one, but I don't know if my confidence is very high. It's at least more got it right than wrong, kind of. It was the mode response. Yes, it's CMA. Okay? That is where the owner is contracting with each and every sub. And a construction manager is an advisor, a consultant to the owner, but the owner contracts and takes responsibility of every single contract. I'm on top. Okay, which method often starts with a guaranteed maximum price and later switches to lump sum? Design build, traditional design bid build, construction manager as advisor, or construction manager at risk? I think you guys will do slightly better than the last question. That's my guess. And it would be possible for design build. I give you that. So best answer based on the lectures is green. What is that? Oh, it's a crown. Okay. Builder's risk or contract works insurance covers, drum roll please, theft of contractors' materials or tools, damage to the building under construction, damage to nearby property, real or personal, costs related to physical injuries to construction workers. Okay, you guys got this. You got this. That's pretty good. Excellent. That's right. Damage to the building under construction. That's the whole idea of contract works. 4 of 6. The value of bid bonds are commonly equal to the full contract amount. Is that true or false? That is false. So what a bid bond is, which I don't really believe exists so much in this part of the world, but still something you should be aware of, they're useful, is a bid bond keeps the tenderers, the bidders, honest. If somebody comes in and does a lowball bid, and just to get a project, the bids come in and they're really lower than they expected, and they will lose money and they pull out, a bid bond, usually 10% of the project amount, has to be sacrificed because it's going to cost the owner time to re-tender that project. Lost time or lost money. And so that's what the bid bond's there to do. They might just take the next tenderer up, but they're going to lose something. Obviously, they would have lost a low tenderer. Five of 6. King is on fire, by the way. What's the typical unit of time in a network consisting of sequentially ordered job activities? Are we dealing with hours, working days, calendar days, or man hours? I don't know what the difference between hours and man hours. Well, I guess man hours is labor. That's right, working days. Okay, I'm gonna try to do some. I think I have one spare one at least. Now, in the lecture, I talk about one thing you got to watch out for when you're doing networking and planning a project. What is an example of something that will take, you have to focus on calendar days rather than working days? What's something that will happen on a big job site? Does anybody remember what I was saying in the lecture? Somebody put their hand up? No? Can't remember? Oh, you can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Oh my gosh. You've just been thinking of a mime. What I said was in the lecture I mentioned about working days. There's also another unit of days, calendar days. Now, calendar days comes into play in certain circumstances. And I think I gave an example of something that you need to watch out for the calendar days because it is doing something every day. Does anybody remember what that might? Yep. Man, I love your answer, except for one word you used. Okay, I'll take it now. Here it comes. Whoa. Hey, that was a good throw, but good interception as well. Yes, that's right. So because concrete cures every single day, you got to watch out. Oh, man. Put some pepper on it. You almost took out somebody's head. Yeah, you probably felt it. Okay. Last one. A job activity is deemed to be on the critical path if its total float time is equal to 10, 0, 100, or 1. Now, if there's one question I get 100%, it's got to be this one. Close to it, but not quite 100, but that's good. 0 float, that's right. No leeway. And the king takes it, or the queen. Okay, who's the crown? Is it you guys again? All right, the gorilla. You need to share it with everybody else, I think. Okay, Giselle. Hey, somebody else. Oh, sorry. Where's Soph? I'm gonna throw it way up there. Oh, I almost hit the ceiling. And where's the Hamburglar? Okay, now who honestly has never received one of these? Okay. All right, you guys, so no review session next week. Next week is test 2. So we will be in the computer labs for most of you. And for the rest of you, we will be right here in this room, paper-based. Good luck on your studying, and I'll see you guys then.